I like the microphone you have.
Well, thank you.
How do you like mine? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great. How do I sound?
You sound a whole lot better than I do, I'm sure.
Really? I mean, can you hear it?
Yeah, of course. What the fuck are we going to call this?
I don't know.
Tom and D podcast? What the hell are we doing?
Two middle-aged idiots?
All of the above are true.
Exactly.
Tom and D? Tom and D?
Two middle-aged idiots?
So I think with that, I'm going to kind of lead into this. But first, man, how are you doing?
Are we recording this now? Don't start it yet, because I'm just like getting my vape juice going. And
your vape juice? Are you going to be vaping during this?
No. Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
All right, so what's the scent?
It's kind of pancakey.
Okay, pancakes.
You should remember it because I did it at your house and you caught me because you came in and said, it smells like pancakes in here.
I thought you quit, dude.
I did.
How's that going?
Very well. Apparently not too well. No, I
How long did you quit? Like what, 3 days or what?
No, I quit for like a month.
And then why did you start back again?
I don't know. Just
obviously you like it and you're addicted and
yeah, but I don't know. I was stressed. I'm selling my house, a lot of things going on in my life. So sometimes it's no excuse because when I was off nicotine for years and years when I quit smoking and stuff, and you never even think about it. But see, the thing is, I did a dry January. And then I did, decided to quit vaping at the same time. And then all I did was eat. So instead of losing weight from the dry January, I gained weight. And I'm like, well, this isn't working. I might as well vape.
Right. Exactly. It's the best semaglutide ever, I guess.
It is, man. And you know what? My asthma is better when I vape.
Your asthma is better?
Yeah. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but apparently there's something in the vape that they use when you have an asthma attack and go to the hospital and they hook you up to that thing,
nebulizer, like a nebulizer.
Right. It's the same ingredient except for, so the asthma does improve.
Right.
No excuse.
That's weird though, but because I've been at your house or you've been here when, you've been vaping and
you hate it.
I fucking cough so much. That coupled with your cats, at your place, I can barely breathe sometimes.
Well, that's okay. That's the idea, man. You got me in your will. As long as you have breathing problems, then I'm closer to being, having a little bit of a nest egg. And that's the kind of what I'm doing here.
So you think I'm going to go before you?
Yeah, you're older than me.
Right. And you actually think you're in my will. Okay. Yeah, that's a good plan for your future.
It's a sad plan for my future is what it really is. It's a sad plan. But my future, involves where we went to college. I mean, we both went to Indiana and that's where we met. And I'm moving to Bloomington to be closer to your sister.
That's the reason. Okay. You will be, not okay. Yeah.
No, but I've got some opportunities to teach at IU, and I've got the cost of living there is much lower, and I don't know, it's a great place. I mean, every time I've been there, I obviously went to school there for 4 years, so my mom went there, my grandparents went there, so it's just like everyone loves Bloomington. Everyone who's been there loves it. They say this is a great town. And the cost of living is a big thing.
So eventually we're going to have a listener that may not know who we are. So,
I forgot.
So outside
I'm Deren.
Family, that would be pretty much anybody.
I'm Deren, and this is Tom.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the Tom and D show. I'm going to call it. If we go with that, I have to be D because
your name's Deren.
Because my name's Deren. My fucking parents, they spelled it a weird way.
Yeah, what is up with that, dude?
Look that shit up, and find it out. They're going to be like, who? What? So no one can misspell D because it's one letter. Unless they put DEE or something, and then it's like...
No, that's too feminine. D sounds...
Well, yeah.
Well, that's your own issue.
Insert joke here, right? Okay.
Insert joke here.
Yeah.
So, okay. So no, we like I said, we've known each other since I guess we met at 19. Well, probably before that because you were like the king of the theater department, building sets and doing all this stuff, and I was just a lowly sophomore in there, trying to take an acting class. And I remember running into you and thinking you were a real cool guy. And actually, your mom was the manager of the apartment complex that I lived in.
That's right.
And she said, "Oh, my friend, my son Deren wants to do this video. I know you're in telecom or media school. Maybe you could help him. Can I give him your number?" And next thing you know, you came over to talk about your project, and we ended up just hanging out for like the next year.
Yeah, and then cut to years later, I was in Los Angeles doing.
And I moved out there.
You're out there. Cut to years later, we each kind of went our own path, and eventually ended up in Denver. Realized that you were out here too, and
yeah.
All right, man, let's get together.
Well, let's resume where we were before.
Picked up, didn't miss a beat.
Doing bad Wayne's World quotes and swing and all that kind of stuff, and watching Indiana basketball.
Right, we got to get together off camera. Maybe eventually we'll do something onto, but got a lot to talk about there too with the change of coaches and the players. The mass exodus of players too.
We could talk. We could do a whole podcast this on Indiana basketball, or the football team, which is finally
the football team. Yeah, which finally, after eons, we have something to talk about.
Yeah, so things are good, and but you're a Detroit Tigers fan, and the Tigers, they're made the playoffs last year, so there's some optimism in our sports world.
All right, so we've been going on. Our guest, who you don't know.
Nope.
This guy, he's been waiting long enough, so thank you so much, mystery guest. This guy, his name is Brian Wilson, not the Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Let's go surfing now, everybody.
Anyway, Brian and I, we've worked together for years and years. He was one of the first people I worked with in Colorado when I moved out here and started doing more corporate work. And he's a great cinematographer. Great editor. He then moved out to California for a while, recently moved back a couple of years ago, and we've been working together since. But then just recently, kind of a slow transition out of Denver, moving back to the West Coast, and working a lot with, I don't want to say who yet, I'll let him decide because I don't know if he has NDAs involved and what he can talk about, but
and Carrot Top only, he likes to keep things under covers. I mean,
I don't think that anybody knows that reference of Carrot Top.
All right. Oh, people know who Carrot Top is.
Do they? Okay.
Yes.
Anybody under the age of 40, or do we even have an audience?
I don't know.
We don't have an audience at all, except for the people out here. So. Yeah,
we know who Carrot Top is. That's all that matters.
Right. All right. So so this guy, he's producing lots of podcasts, and actually some of the things that we're going to be talking about on this show, I think anyway, because I don't know what the hell we're doing, it's kind of what we know about as entertainment and business, and the business of entertainment. I don't know if that sounds right, but. Without further ado, Brian Wilson. Yay! Insert applause here, Brian.
Golf clap.
Do you have the controls? All right. So Brian is producing this show, essentially, too.
He is.
At least this first episode until we figure out what the hell we're doing. So, Brian, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
We're well, thank you.
Professional here. You got the earphones on. You got the mic, everything.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to look professional.
Yeah, you got the great, virtual background too.
Yeah, the kitchen.
This is real. What are you talking about? This ain't virtual. I swear to God, it is.
No one would select that as a virtual.
I know. I was going to say this
is the kitchen from the 1980s.
Right. Exactly. All right, Brian, how are you, man?
Good. Just hanging, doing some editing today, and appreciate you guys having me on.
What are you editing? What are you doing?
Coincidentally, podcasts. So between my main client, MeatDad, and another one, Rost Architects, just couple shows. Some about meat, some about buildings. So,
all right. Tell us about MeatDad, because when Deren mentioned it, I had heard it, but I didn't really know much. I figured, why ask Deren? Ask the guy who works directly with the daddy of meat.
So ask him. What do you want to know, Tom?
Well, who is he? What's his deal? How many people are listening to his podcast? I mean, his story a little bit of self-promotion for your show.
Yeah, so his name is Tony. He goes by MeatDad, and he's a butcher turned social media influencer. So couple years ago. He was doing less butcher stuff and being more of a stay-at-home dad, and he started posting some videos about some tips and tricks that he had for, I forget what the first one he posted, but essentially what he'll do is teach people, instead of getting these nicely trimmed steaks, get this big piece of meat, cut it up into steaks, and make some of it into ground beef or stir fry and save money, or even repurpose the fat for stuff like tallow.
So it's like one of those things
that.
like where you buy like a half a cow kind of a deal, and you just kind of get a deep freezer. And
I mean, that's the big scale, but I mean, some of it is even just, hey, there's a rib, like kind of like what you would think of as a prime rib. There's just this piece of thing, but it's literally 5 steaks that if you just cut it up yourself, maybe it drops from 20 a pound to 14 a pound or something like that. Gotcha. And then if there's scraps, then you can, repurpose a lot of that stuff too.
Make sausage or make ground something. Right. Exactly. That's cool.
It's not just educational. It's like really entertaining too. He's got a great presence.
Yeah. And I mean, even you could apply the same to, I mean, think about you're going to a party and you're in a rush and you want to buy a thing with 5 pieces of fruit chopped up and nicely presented. It's obviously going to be cheaper if you were to buy a whole melon and a whole, whatever it may be, and chop it up yourself, but it's just paying for that convenience. So it's the same kind of concept, but especially with grocery prices getting so high and specifically.
So basically, MeatDad, he's got a sharp knife and a good sense of humor. He could be a moil. That's really all you need to be a moil.
Oh my God.
The first moil joke.
Yeah. Well, here's the second one. They only work for tips.
I love that one. It's a crowd pleaser.
Right. Always a crowd pleaser. Yeah. You got to love the moil jokes.
The moil.
All right. So, Brian, how long have you been doing that with MeatDad, with Tony?
Specifically with MeatDad, it's only been about 9 months. We started last summer. It's kind of one of those, I was a fan of him for a while. Yeah, I was a fan, and I just reached out and kind of said, hey, you're doing great, but if you ever need help with some content, I have some ideas of stuff I'd like to collaborate with you on, and ended up turning into a great partnership. So kind of ideal situation.
Yeah, you guys also have like another connection, and that's like being from the Bay Area, loving the same teams, what is it, Golden State Warriors, the San Francisco, is it 49ers?
Yeah, 49ers and Giants for football and baseball. I know you Chiefs fan, you bandwagon Chiefs fan.
You guys actually had some special invites, right? And got to go out on the field or something. Is that right?
Yeah, no, that's been the best part is because of, I think Tom had asked earlier about his following and stuff. So the podcast we're about to launch, we've been kind of banking episodes, and I'm in this final stage of push to get it out. But I mean, since I've met him, he has about 5 million followers between all of his platforms. So because of that, we get all these the Niners, because they know he's a fan of the team, they'll invite him to specialty events or give him, box seats, or he'll get to walk on the field and do all this stuff. So the very first shoot I got to do with him, it was at the Niners stadium. A couple days later, we walked on the San Francisco Giants baseball stadium before the game when they were doing batting practice. So it's been fortunate that, this is like the dream for being able to just be immediately plugged into the type of content you want to produce.
Well, Deren, who knows, man? Maybe you and I will throw out the first pitch at a Tigers game someday or something.
There you go.
I don't know. I would rather sit, half court at an
Indiana game.
Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Brian, what else are you doing? You said you're doing other podcasts too. Anything really cool?
Yeah, and then the other one is for an architect client of mine that's been, it's kind of what I think people should be doing with marketing instead of just doing what's been done before. Let's say, hey, let's take a picture of a nice building and mail out some pictures with our information there. He's saying, no, I want to do something entertaining and give back to my audience or clients. So he's booking kind of architects that have either they're historically known, or they're authors, or they're within it, and he's just having a variety of guests that he's interviewing and kind of giving back education and entertainment to people that are interested in architecture.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it sounds like you know your shit.
I'm good at pretending like I do and sounding like it, but I don't.
I think you do. And we welcome any notes. I'm sure you have a plethora of them already. We're only a couple of minutes into this. So.
You're like, first of all, the whole idea with you two is a bad idea.
Right.
Wait while you're ahead, guys.
Right.
You know?
First of all, number one, you have to have an audience.
We had 2 people, and then you mentioned Carrot Top, and we lost both of them. So
Right, exactly. Exactly.
I have a Carrot Top story.
let's hear it.
Oh no, here we go.
No. I actually do
Let me
this
just
thing.
apologize to the audience whenever we have.
No, I do this
mom
thing. I haven't recorded one in a while, but I was doing these kind of weekly things on LinkedIn talking about, my voiceovers and some of my Hollywood moments, because I lived out in LA and I was a limousine driver and for the Tonight Show. So, I got to meet a lot of people, and it was like it didn't say like pick up Mr. Top, it was just like whatever his real name was, I don't even remember.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, Mr. Top, first name Carrot. Okay. But I knocked on his door and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, man? He's like, hey, could you come around to my garage, in the back? Because he was in these condos in Palisades, which sadly are probably not there anymore. And then I came around, and then he has this garage, and it's all just filled with his props, and he's like, well, what should I bring with me? And I'm like, I don't know. What's this thing? He's like, oh, this is a Bulls basketball, it has the tissues. He goes, we used to be good, and then he pulls up this other thing. This is a that, and he had all these props. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to design your show for you, but these ones look funny. This one. So he grabs them all, puts them in the trunk of the limousine, and I drove him to the Tonight Show. But that was before he had all the facial plastic surgery and before he buffed up with steroids. He was a little, he's a little bit more normal back.
Yeah. I remember that look, like his face changing, but I don't remember him getting buffed up.
Oh, dude, the guy Google him, dude. I mean, he's like fucking beefcake, dude.
Because he had to for the sledgehammer. No, that was Gallagher, right?
The sledgehammer on the watermelon.
The other prop comedian,
right? Gallagher.
Gallagher's
he's from Ireland, isn't he?
I have no idea.
I think he's from the UK somewhere. But anyway, no. So back to what you were saying. Pardon my Carrot Top interrupt. That's going to be the thing. Maybe we'll get Carrot Top on here one day, just to
That's the dream. That's the dream.
We set the bar very low.
That's how we know we've made it.
When Carrot Top joins us.
All right, Brian. So what are we missing?
What are we doing wrong here?
I mean, I think you've taken the most important step starting. I think a lot of people talk about doing podcasts or record 1 or 2 episodes and get distracted. I think the best thing is just keep doing it, because you'll organically feel better. It's kind of funny. We just started this thing a couple of months ago with MeatDad on the podcast, and I was just editing one of our first episodes, and I just noticed myself being very nervous, where now, because I've done probably 20 of them, it just feels like you're having a conversation with your friends instead of feeling like you have to be on. Or sometimes you're not even thinking about it, but yeah.
And that's part of why we are doing this too. It's like, it'd be great if this became, some big thing, but that's not what we're hoping for. Tom and I, we're good friends. We've had, we keep missing each other all the time.
Well, because you're out of town a lot. Like we go to the same health club, but it's just like, I'll call I'm heading to the health club. He's like, I'm just pulling out, I'm like, Jesus, we miss each other again,
Yeah, we were supposed to get together this evening, but couldn't do it. But anyway, hopefully we can get together before I leave again, next week. But, we just don't get to spend enough time together. So this is in part a way of doing
the selfish way of spending time together, and hopefully, having some people, because when we're on the phone, we're always like, we're slamming on each other, having fun talking and stuff like that.
So might as well do it here.
Yeah, might as well record it.
No, I was going to also slip in that I think one big thing is semi-consistency and for us, we do it every Sunday morning. And at first we have everybody on different time zones. So we were doing it at 7 a.m. on the West. And I'm like, that sounds rough. Every Sunday I got to be up and on at 7 a.m. But
there goes your Saturday nights, buddy.
Yeah, there's that. And then, but at the same time, it's funny. Like, I really look forward to it. And everybody within the group is like, you could tell, like some of them specifically, they're in the heat of having a bunch of young kids, and they're just excited to kind of escape into the garage on Sunday mornings and talk with their buddies, and as lame as it sounds, it's actually something really exciting to like look forward to weekly. Like, all right, get to catch up with my friends and hang out. And I hope that's what this turns into for you guys, even if it's every other week or once a month. It's just nice to have something
or just one
like,
time
kind of keep you accountable.
Part of this, of course, we're having fun. It'd be great if somebody learned something from this too. I don't want to like turn this into like some moment where we're pontificating and pretending to be like the top experts, because clearly we're not. Maybe you are, Brian, I don't know, but I'm like way down there. Here's the bottom.
For yourself, buddy. Speak for yourself.
People that want to get into it, and maybe it's not podcast, maybe it's something else than entertainment, or starting their own business. You went to film school, right? CU Boulder, was that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. They don't teach the business side of it. They didn't teach it when I was in college. They don't teach it now. I've never heard of anybody that has any sort of business sense whatsoever, unless they've taken business classes or they've learned from somebody else. But like, what would you say, or what would you tell yourself, back when you were getting started and knowing what you know now? What sort of advice?
I mean, I think a lot of people say this, like, I said earlier, first of all, just doing it, not being so caught up in I don't have the right microphone. I don't have the right audience. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't have everything all done. Like, if you can have those things, great. And, with all of us being in the industry, we are beneficial, or it's like nice that we already have like a base background, but don't let not having that be an intimidation or something to hold you back from starting it. Like, those things will come into place. Maybe it takes you 30 to 50 episodes before you get an audience or you're actually generating money, or maybe you never generate money. But if it does, then maybe you upgrade your microphone, or you can have more reach and bring on the Carrot Tops of the world to, step up your game. But yeah, just get it out there and don't be so like, we're all our own worst critics. And I think most people don't do things, myself included, by fear of being judged by other, and then you realize it's stupid.
Yeah.
What's all
I mean, I agree with most of that, but Tom's not his own worst critic. I think I'm far more critical of him than he is himself.
I think so.
Yeah.
But you do sometimes call me One Take Tommy, because I do a lot of voiceover stuff for you, and rarely do we have to re-record.
God, here goes the shameless plug.
Right, the shameless plug, fryonthefly.com for all your voiceover needs.
Jesus. All right.
Well,
Nice.
Deren is, I don't know if you know this, but Deren won an Emmy Award, not like the local Emmy, but like the big one.
You can't do that. What, you went like that? For our
well, holding it, not,
see,
not like, yeah.
Wait a minute, there's a video component to this, but hopefully we'll probably just put this on Apple Podcasts too. So you're listening. So Tom made a, how would you describe it, Tom?
When you're holding your award with one hand, but I guess, if you move it a lot, it looks like you're, taking care of business with yourself. Like I spend most of my Friday nights doing. Tonight's another one.
And you're talking about using a shake weight, right? Not
using the shake weight. Exactly. Yeah. Shake weight.
Okay. All right. We totally went sideways there, and not in a good way.
That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So outside of podcasts, Brian, what else do you do? What else are you known for? What sort of experiences have you had? I don't know, best, worst, types, whatever you want to go into.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it's been a huge mixed bag, just general freelance. Sometimes it's working on kind of local TV show style stuff within the travel lifestyle kind of genre, but a lot of it's just lots of fun ones, but a lot of I would classify it as documentary style storytelling of a business and trying to get to the core story of kind of whether they be small to medium sized businesses, but focusing on the things that make them the personal story and what isn't just on their website with their shopping list or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Brian, you were just telling me something recently. I don't know if you can get into it or not. If not, just skirt around it as much as you can. But you were recently with MeatDad, right? Doing something on location. And wasn't there something that, kind of crossed over to that sort of tonality of a show like that? Or am I getting that right?
Oh yeah, well I was saying we went out kind of to collaborate with one meat company, but there's a lot of stuff that within it just was not a good fit. I don't think for Tony or myself, but within that we met a guy that's on a show, same kind of thing. I'm just gonna be vague about names and stuff, but essentially he's on like a kind of like a Duck Dynasty type show, but a different one. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those. The shoot didn't go as planned, and we weren't really happy with the original partnership. But we met this guy, and we're kind of in talks of how can we create our own original content around these characters between the guy that's already on a show and MeatDad, and trying to see where it goes. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily in the form of a pilot to pitch to a TV network, but I could definitely see it at least being a YouTube style. What are these guys getting into?
Right.
Type thing.
All right. So Tom, chime in if you need to, but I want to quickly go back to, how we talked about advice. What kind of similar to that, what do you see as the biggest mistake that people or mistakes that people make getting into, whether it's, podcasting or the film business or, just entertainment in general, whatever side of the camera they're on? What are the biggest mistakes? And Tom, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, because, you've done a lot of acting and voiceover work. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially on the other side of the mic or lens.
And is this from the perspective of like somebody that's trying to create their own content, or or more so like somebody in the film industry who's working for people, or what do you?
Maybe all of the above. I don't know. Let's say somebody that's trying to make their own content, and then maybe somebody that's just trying to get work.
Yeah. I mean, I think making your own content, maybe towing the line of I know this is generally the direction I want to go, but I'm not going to be so confined to it varies by the circumstances. Sometimes you have to have a very specific vision, but I think, for example, one of these clients that we are talking about that we're not going to name their names, it seems like they had a vision of, we wanted to get picked up by this network and we want it to be this type of show, and this is the vision for it to be, but they're limiting themselves to maybe an audience on YouTube or from social media, or maybe, either a combo of producing it independently or working directly with maybe one or two brands that they believe in. They say, hey, instead of go getting 20 people to throw out a 30-second commercial, let's have you be the main sponsor, and we're going to wear your clothes, or we're going to ride your bikes, or we're going to, do it like creatively
too. Like
exactly.
So they're almost like directing themselves, saying, what is it that the networks or the audience wants? And I'm going to design it to that, versus, hey, I'm going to create good content with what I know and what connects to me and my world and what I have at my fingertips, and let the audience find me, or I'll find my audience and connect to someone that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just as a nice, having two examples that kind of like illustrate that point, this client had that vision. They've now put money into two separate pilots, one from 10, 15 years ago, one from a year or two ago. It's both are sitting there. They both invested a bunch of money. They had this vision and nothing has come of it because they're just sitting there waiting for this network to knock on their door and say, here's $1 million, come do the show. Then you take MeatDad, who's the exact opposite, just started doing it on his phone, posting. Now he has his heroes knocking on his door and saying, please come to the 49ers game. We want you to have fun and sit in this suite with your wife and go enjoy yourself and walk around the field beforehand.
And he's doing things his way.
Exactly. Yeah. He's in control of it. He's his own boss, and he's having a blast doing it because he's not even thinking of where it's going to go. He's just doing it. It's the whole fail forward fast. Like, just keep doing it. You fail, you mess up, you adjust, you keep going, versus sitting there waiting.
I also think it's important that you, the contacts that you have and the people that, picking up a business card or someone that you meet, keeping in touch with those people and, picking up the phone once in a while, sending out an email, because, you do a project for someone and it goes great and they love you, but it doesn't mean that every time they're going to think of you, because Joe Blow down the street just walked and said, I do voiceovers. And all of a sudden, Joe Blow's card's in front of him and he forgets all about Tom. So yeah. I think that it's important to maintain contacts, have a database in your computer, and even make little notes on each one. Last called on this date, or last sent an email on this date. And don't feel afraid to call and reach out to someone, because chances are you're the one who's got to promote yourself, because no one else is going to promote for you unless you have, yes, you're famous and have a publicist and an agent who's out there doing that. Most of us just got to kind of fend for ourselves. So I just think it's important. And I noticed that when I, like LinkedIn as an example, if I get some young kid who reaches out to me and, says, hey, I'm interested in getting into voiceovers. I'm graduating this year from X school or whatever. You have any advice for me? Someone like that, it's like, man, who knows where this kid's going to be in 10 years? It's kind of like, absolutely, man, make yourself available. And even if you're not making a lot of money, if someone asks you to do something, and if you do something, make sure it's your best work.
That is 100% right, no matter what it is.
Right. It might be a $10 job, but it's saying that $10 job has your voice with it, your name on it, your production company attached to it, whatever. So everything that leaves your studio should be your best stuff, because you never know who's going to see it.
Yeah, and there's no parentheses below your credit that says, hey, he only had X amount to work,
right,
and a certain amount of time. So
he only got paid $20, so don't pay too close of attention to the quality.
Exactly. All right, sorry, we went off. Brian, any horror stories, worst job ever? And it can't be one of mine.
And it can't be that when you had to clean.
No, it can't.
When you had to clean out porta potties after that chili festival. That one is not out.
No, I mean, one horror story I would say was when the first time I went from Denver back to the Bay Area. I was working on a TV show, and the first day on the job, it was one of those, I was so excited to get it that I just said yes to everything and kind of overpromised and kind of got in over my head. And last minute, I was like, oh, don't worry, I can bring on a production assistant who does sound, when in reality, I didn't know anybody in the area at the time. Got a guy on Craigslist within 24 hours. And within an hour of this first shoot, he knocked this probably $10,000 camera and lens off of a tripod, shattered the lens, had a whole stop with the whole production, as well as having to run all over town to get replacement equipment for the afternoon shoot. So just, perfect storm of over promising and under delivering just to get the gig. The good thing is it ended up leading to great opportunities. And I think the way that I handled the situation helped me gain recognition within the company to want to keep bringing me back. So it was a blessing in disguise, but obviously it was a very stressful period of time.
You had to pay off the camera,
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, one of those, it worked out, but always a fun story to tell looking back on.
Right. Nice. Nice.
One that comes to mind, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ones. But I will say I feel very fortunate. I wouldn't be here if I'm being honest without Deren in regards to how my career has progressed, because I didn't even give any background on my relationship with Deren. Essentially, I went out to Boulder to go to film school. It was the summer going into film school, and it was a random Craigslist ad for a production assistant. At that time, I had worked on a couple sets, but nothing really paid or professional. And from there, I feel like I learned more working under Deren in those few years while I was going to school than half of the classes that were there. Because, to your point, it's just a bunch of theory or stuff that you're not necessarily going to practically apply to the industry. So I feel like Deren helped me get a one-up, especially in those few years after college, where there was less of a learning curve that a lot of my peers had to go through, because all they went to was school and didn't work until later.
So it's all making sense now. You probably fucking lied to me the same way you did to those people in the Bay Area.
I told you, I have 20 years experience, but I'm 20 years old. No,
Brian has been fantastic. That's why we continue to work together. I mean, he has that same sort of ability of what he was talking about, just bringing everything, as that high level and just, taking it to the finish line. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't do. They run out of steam and, they just want to get it done. But you get her done, but you also do it really, really well too.
And sometimes, like, I look at it like when I do, because I do a lot of auditions. I've got like 5 agents, one in the East, West Coast, Midwest. And, you get auditions that you have to do, well, you're not getting paid for. And I end up spending a lot of time on these, sometimes a half an hour on an audition, because it's kind of like, I want them to hear what it's going to sound like on their final commercial or on their project. I don't want to have breaths and mouth noises and mistakes or, something. Oh, it's just the audition. Who cares if it, no, I care, man. I want them to say, wow, that sounds great. That studio sounds great. His voice sounds great. His editing sounded great. So sometimes you put in a little bit more time than than the average person does, or you want to, but nothing ever leaves my studio that isn't like to my 100% liking, unless I'm doing it for Deren and he isn't paying me enough or something.
Which is all the time.
No, Deren does pay well. He knows what it's like to be, not always the, exec producer of something, but also being the guy who's doing when you just like production assistant stuff, So Deren never's been a situation where he's how much are you do this for? I don't know, like $350. He's like, no, Tom, you're doing it for $500. I'm paying you $500. I'm like, well, okay, I'm doing it for $500 then.
Brian has not had the same experience.
Well, you do it for $150, Brian.
It's just the opposite. I don't have any money on this one.
That's right.
You know me, Deren. I'm gonna have to get a jerky sponsor pretty soon. To come represent
I got
me.
to tell you a quick story. I'm sorry. This guy, it's so appropriate that he's connected to MeatDad. This guy just eats meat so much. We were driving to, where was it? Cheyenne, I think, from Denver.
Probably, yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah. And there was a huge snowstorm. He's opening up his breakfast, his nasty smelling jerky. Who eats jerky for breakfast? It's
this guy.
Jerky. I might have something, but like, okay, it's fine, whatever. But he opens it up, and it smelled. It was, I don't. I'm at a loss for words. Dog shit.
Ass.
Right.
Ass. It smelled like ass. Your whole car smelled like ass.
In a good way,
Right. Not that kind of ass. Yeah.
It was horrible. It was horrible. He's got it sitting on my dash, and he's like reaching in there, picking up these cubes. They weren't even like strips, as I recall. They were like cubes. It looked like and smelled like old, rotten, just gross dog food. And I was retching. I was like, dude, and it took forever to get the car, that smell out of the car. It was horrible. So
you had to sell the car. And I'm a big fan of the Jerky Boys. So, jerky references come up all the time. Jerky.
Exactly.
Hey, what's up there, Jerky?
Anyway, Brian, thank you so much. We've taken up a lot of your time. And Brian, how do you sign off for MeatDad, by the way? Like, what do you do?
I think when it organically feels like that time, like because it is his podcast, he just kind of says, "All right, guys," and he just kind of gives his own organic send off of it and recording.
Or like a closing thing that he does, like "Smell you later," or
keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars. It's like Casey Kasem used to do.
So anyway, with that,
I'll jump off here. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm very honored to be the first guest. So
yeah,
hopefully, if you if you run out of people, maybe I'll come back. We'll see.
Bring you back again. We'll see you next week.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I'll let you guys chit chat and talk shit. So thanks again.
Cool, bud.
All right, thanks again.
It sounded like you just cut him off there.
Right. I know. Okay, I thought that was awesome.
That was fun.
That was so much fun. I don't know if anybody's going to fucking listen to this, but that was so cool. Like, it was really awesome of Brian to be able to take the time to, and I love being able to do this with you.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm looking forward to more of these to come, and we'll have different guests, interesting people, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And well, Deren, man, this has been fun, and Tom and D, Is that the Tom and D show, or I don't even know? We don't have a name yet.
That's
All right.
All right. Well, see you later. Like, what do we do here? How about we just say
Later, dude.
later, dude? See ya. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Bye.
Tom and D.
Two middle-aged